Hello, dear students. Very good morning. Hope all of you are fine at your home and working hard for your career year, that is of the standard 11, because standard 11th is the base year of a 12th and it is the path of a success if you want to be successful in standard 12th. I am Vaibhav Shah and we are discussing chapter number 2nd of economics, that is fundamental concepts and terminologies, and this is our lecture number 8. I hope you are understanding each and every point very clearly. If there is any of the doubts in any of the topic or in any of the chapters, then please feel free to ask me so that I can clear your doubts. But don't hesitate to ask, because once it will be accumulated, that if you are having so many doubts in your mind, then you will be not able to understand the next concepts which we are going to discuss in this particular subject. So now let us start with next point, that is factors of production. I think there is some concepts or there is some conceptual terminologies are there in your 9th and 10th standard regarding these factors of production. Basically, when we are producing or manufacturing anything, we require different kinds of resources and factors of production so that our production process will become easy and will be able to produce many of the items at a single time. So here in this particular point we are going to discuss about the important factors of production which will be helpful in our productive activities. So let us start. After this points, there is only one point is left in this particular chapter, and that is trade cycle. Now let us start with the factors of production. The activity of conversion of raw materials and resources into final goods which satisfy human want is called production. By converting the nature of resources, their utility increases. Hence, production can also be called a process which increases utility of resources. For example, when wood is converted into chairs which are demanded by customers for satisfaction of their wants, then the utility of wood increases, and this process of conversion is called production. So here it is given a clear-cut idea regarding the production activity or what we called production. This concept is very wide. If we are talking about this concept in a detailed manner, then it may take almost 3 or 4 hours to understanding what is the production, what is production process, and what are the factors of production and how they are useful in our different activities. But as you are in standard 11, you will be having very limited number of concepts, and that's why we are going to discuss only the thing which are given in your textbook itself. The activity of conversion of raw materials and resources into final goods which satisfy human wants is called production. First of all, line this statement. It may be asked in your examination that what is production, so you can write this particular meaning. Conversion of raw materials, it means whatever we are getting as a raw material, in that 99% things are coming from the nature itself, and out of them majority of the things are easily available through the agricultural produce. But it is the thing that we cannot use the agricultural produce as it is given in the natural form. We have to convert them so that there will be some kind of utility associated with that particular item, and with the use of that particular article we will be able to satisfy our desires. So the activity of conversion of these raw materials and resources which is easily available from the nature into final goods. So here there is some kind of utility associated, like form utility, in which we are converting the natural form of the product into usable form. Time utility, we can store them so that in the future whenever the need arises we can use them. Place utility, it means we can transport that goods from one particular thing to one particular place to another place. Like the marbles are available in Rajasthan, but still today in our homes we are using these marbles, so it creates the place utility. And there is a person utility, it means all those persons who are engaged in the conversion of raw material and resources into final goods which satisfy human wants is having these four type of utilities, and it is called production. Just imagine the thing, if the person is not able to understand and through his different skills, if he is not able to convert these raw materials into final goods, then today we are not having the majority of items which we are using, because the conversion of these natural resources is very much important, and that increases our level of satisfaction. By converting the nature of resources, it means we are converting the actual product into a finished goods which will be helpful for need satisfying power. Their utility increases. If there is a tree in the forest, and if we cut it and use as it is given in the natural form, is that possible that we can use that? Not at all. By the way of different processes or methods, or through the different activities in a factory, we make that particular tree into a large sheet of a wooden, and from that sheet we are producing different articles of a wood that will be useful for one satisfying power. So we cannot use the resources as it is given by the nature. Hence production can also be called a process which increases utility of resources, because after making it final goods, now we are able to use it in a very properly manner, and that's why it can increase our utility. Now here the same example is given by the textbook also. For example, when wood is converted into chairs which are demanded by customers for satisfaction of their wants, then the utility of wood increases, and this process of conversion is called production. So same example is there. When wood is converted into chairs, means first of all from that tree we are making a sheet of woods, and from the sheets we are using it for making a chair, and these chair are demanded by customers for satisfaction of their wants. It may be used for many of the purposes, and then the utility of wood increases. But if the wood is in the same position or in the same situation as we cut from the forest, then there is no utility in it, and this process of conversion of this wooden into chair is also called the production. Now, the agents which help in such a process of conversion of production are called factors of production. Line this statement also. There is a question like what is factors of production? Then you have to write that agents which help in such a process of conversion of production are called factors of production. So all the four factors of production which we are going to discuss in these lectures are the agents which are helpful in process of conversion. It means in one or more ways they are useful in converting these natural resources into different types of resources. Now there are four factors of production, or we can say four agents of production, with land, labor, capital and entrepreneur. Now with this line, I think now you are able to remember the concept which you studied in standard 10th also, that there are four factors of production. First one is land, second one is labor, third one is capital, fourth one is entrepreneur. So here in this chapter we are going to discuss each and every factor of production in a very detailed manner, and by that we will be able to understand how they are useful in conversion of this raw material into finished goods, which increases the satisfaction level of a person. All these factors are equally important in the process of production. In a system of just distribution of income, the total income generated from various activities is distributed to each factor of production as per their productivity or their contribution in generating that income. Now, all these factors are equally important in the process of production. It means without land we cannot imagine any of the activities carried out, whether it is of a productive nature or of a household nature or whatever. Without labor there is no one who can conduct all these activities. There are some of the students who are arguing that, sir, now machines has taken the place of this man, but for using that machine or for giving them command or for instruction, who are required? They are required as a labor. Then capital is a lifeblood of business, because without capital we cannot imagine any of the activities, because there is no such term as a free meal in today's world. And last one is entrepreneur. Entrepreneur is the person who is able to make their dream comes true regarding all these activities of production, and he is the one who is collecting the land from one, labor from another, and capital from yet another, and by using these particular factors of production he produces goods and services which will be useful for the benefit of the society. In a system of just distribution of income, it means when once the land will be taken from a single person, labor from second person, and capital from third person. By using all these things, we are constructing a plant and machinery, and from that plant and machinery we are producing the goods and services which can be sold in the market. But whatever revenue are generating by selling these goods and services, we have to distribute this revenue amongst all these factors of production. So, in a system of just distribution of income, the total income generated from various activities is distributed to each factor of production. It means whatever generating from the particular activity of production, we are distributing the total income generated from various activities. Like for a land we are paying a rent, so all those owner of a land are getting a rent as a return or remuneration of their particular factor of production. All the laborers are getting wages and salaries. Capital is useful for getting interest, and whatever left after paying all these three types of remuneration is called profit, and that residual profit is the income of the entrepreneur for managing all these activities and taking the risk of the business. So, in system of just distribution of income, the total income generated from various activities, it is means various activities like selling or producing of a goods or services, is distributed to each factor of production as per their productivity. It means in the starting of the activities we are deciding the rent of a land, the wages of a labor, and the interest of a capital. Because in business there is two possibilities is there. Either you are earning a profit, you are incurring a loss. So in case if this thing is not decided well in advance, then all have to suffer, so that the income is distributed among them as per their productivity or their contribution in generating that income, and sometime it is fixed while sometime it is fluctuating. According to Alfred Marshall, there are two basic categories of factors of production. First one is nature. So factors of production like land is a nature thing, and second one is human beings, that is labor and capital is a man-made. So the category of factors of production is either nature or human beings, and you have to line this statement also, because there will be the question like which are the two categories on which Alfred Marshall has divided the factors of production. Then you have to write that first one is a nature and second one is a human beings. I hope you are noting all these points. Whenever you watching my lecture, I request you to keep pen and a book along with you, so that you will be able to write all those things which we are discussing during the lecture. It might happen that in some of the concept there is no example is given by the book, but I will provide an example. In some of the concept I will use some different words than usual words given in the textbook. Then you have to write all these concepts in your book so that you will be able to understand it more clearly. Now let us start discussion regarding the factors of production. In that, the first factor is land. In a general understanding, land may mean the surface of earth livable for mankind. However, in economics, the concept of land is more inclusive. According to Marshall, that is Alfred Marshall, all natural assets which help in production or economic activities constitute land. That is, climate of a particular part of the earth, water resources, fertility, mineral resources, all of this constitute land. So along with the surface of land, the oxygen level or different kind of gases of the environment, water level and fertility is also constitute a land. So here the meaning of land is very broad in terms of the factor of production. Now let us discuss this point in a detail. In a general understanding, land may mean the surface of earth livable for mankind, because as we all knows that the land is a thing on which we are having everything. It means our houses are also constructed on it, factory premises, offices, schools, everything is there, and agriculture activities or industrial activities are also undertaken. So it is the surface of earth which is liable for mankind. However, in economics, it means the economics is not in the against of this meaning, but the concept of land is more inclusive. It means economics is giving a clear-cut definition regarding the land. According to Alfred Marshall, all natural assets which helps in production or economic activities constitute land. So as Marshall says that all natural assets, it means whether it is in the surface or in the air or in the water, or water resources, air resources or the earthen resources, all are which can be used for the production purpose or for any of the economic activities constitute land. So it includes all the natural things. Like here, before this topic, we discussed that according to Alfred Marshall, there are two basic categories. First one is nature. So all those things which are included in a nature will be covered under the meaning of a land. So all natural assets like trees, water resources, land and everything which help in production of a goods or services or for the different kind of economic activities constitute land. So here the land is having a very broad meaning. That is, it means which are the other things that covered under here is climate of a particular part of earth. It means as we are seeing that in the different part of the earth there is a different climate is there. Like in Gujarat we are having the water atmosphere. Like in Himachal Pradesh and Jammu and Kashmir, there is a cold, or we can say there is a ice is there. It means the climate of that particular land is different. Some of the areas of the country is having all the 12-month rainy season, so their climate is also different. But all this different kind of climate is also a part of a land. Water resources that we are using for the agriculture purpose or industrial purpose or household purpose. But the thing is that we are getting these water resources from earth itself, whether it is comes from a sky or from the underground water, but it belongs to the lands. Fertility of that particular land, because fertility is different in the different regions of the society or country. Mineral resources which we are using for the different purpose, either for the production or for the livelihood, all these constitute land. So along with a surface of earth, we will be having climate of a particular part of the earth, water resources, fertility, mineral resources are all constitute the land. Hence, land can be said to have the following characteristics. It may happen that in standard 11 we will ask you that explain the meaning of land and give the characteristics of land. So you have to write the meaning of a land and have to remember all these 5 characteristics of land, because you have to write in that particular question. And one thing I want to clear over here is that whatever you are writing in a 5-mark question in standard 10, the same content you have to write in a 3-mark question in standard 11, because it is the board's directives that we have to write at least 50 to 80 words that consist of a 1 full page and another half page for 3 marks of answers. So the whole question which is given over here, the meaning and characteristics of land, may be asked for 5 marks in standard 10, but the same question will be asked for 3 marks only in standard 11, because the content required for giving answer or for answering that particular question is not enough to write in a 5-mark question. So it will be asked for 3 marks only. Now let us discuss the characteristics of land. First one, land is a gift of nature and is not man-made. As we all know that we can use the matters but we cannot create the matters. With any of the ingenuity or skills, we cannot produce a land. It may happen that we may have some other floors of the building so that the surface can be produced, but for that also you required a base as a land. And if still you are not able to understand, then take the example of agriculture. Agriculture can only happen in ground or surface. When you are having some more floor of the particular building, then agriculture is not possible in all the floors. If with any of the genuinity or advancement in science and technology, if you are able to produce the agriculture at any of the floor or at a terrace level, but then also the fertility will not be the same as it is in the ground. So the one thing is clear, that land is a gift of nature and it is not man-made, so we cannot increase or decrease the supply of land with any of the resources, because it cannot be created by a man. We can create a different money which is not given by a nature. But we cannot create a water because it is given by a nature. Same way, land is a gift of a nature and not man-made. It means there is no any of the ingenuity or skill which increases the land. Second, the total supply of land is fixed, as we have already discussed that out of the total surface, or we can say in earth, we are having only 25 or 30% of land, while 70 to 75% is water is there. So with the use of anything, we cannot increase the size of the land, or we cannot decrease the water level. That's why the total supply of land is fixed, because in many of the things the supply can be increased, decreased. Like when we are producing any of the goods in a factory level, we can increase or decrease the supply. But as the land is a nature's gift, we cannot increase or even cannot decrease the supply of land, because it is fixed and it is natural resources. Third point is that land is geographically immobile, that we cannot transfer our land. We can transfer our land to some other person's name, but we cannot transport the land from one place to another. Have you ever heard that? I have purchased the land in Jammu and Kashmir, and now I am in a process to transport that land from Jammu and Kashmir to here in Bhavnagar. Have you ever heard that? I am having a land 100 kilometers apart from Bhavnagar's region, and now I am trying to connect that land with the Bhavnagar region itself? No, because the land is geographically immobile. You cannot transport or transfer the land from one place to another place. It is not happening at any cost. Sometimes you may take the sand from that or dust from that particular land, but not the whole land. Like, as we cannot move our house from one place to another because it is connected with the land, same way the land is geographically immobile. You cannot transport your land from one place to another place. Otherwise, it will become very easy that in spite of having different types of land in different regions or different factory premises in different states of the country, if there is a mobility of land is possible, then this industrialist will convert or transport their land from one place to another place for getting a better benefits. But it is not at all possible, because all these 3 points, first 3 points is connected with each other, that land is a gift of nature and it is not man-made, so we cannot create the land. Second is the total supply of land is fixed, because we cannot increase or decrease it. And third one is land is geographically immobile. It means you cannot transport or move your land from one place to another place. Now the fourth point, that is fourth characteristics, is that all types of land are different in fertility, climate conditions, and so on. It is but obvious that according to the climate of that particular region, the fertility is also different and climate condition is also different. Like in Bhavnagar, we are having a basically black sand in our farms and in agriculture, which are useful for producing some kind of cotton seeds, groundnuts, and different kinds of grains only. While the land of the Jammu and Kashmir is different in terms of climate, so they may produce the different kind of fruits like apples and strawberries are there, and that land is not useful for the production of food grains or cotton seed or groundnut. Like the land of Assam is useful for the production of tea, and the land of Bhavnagar is not useful for the production of tea, because the all types of land are different in climate conditions. Now if we are talking about the fertility, then the fertility of land is also dependent upon the use of resources and water in it. There are some of the lands, like in Bhavnagar regions also, some of the land are having a higher fertility, like the regions of this Fulsar and Sitsar and all, while some of the land like of a Kala Talav, where the Nirma is situated, their fertility is zero. There is nothing can be produced. In spite of having the same land in the same region, the fertility of the different land is differently because of the nature's gift. So it may happen that all types of land are different In fertility, it means their fertility is also different, as we discussed the example of Bhavnagar itself. Climate condition, as we discussed Jammu and Kashmir and Bhavnagar and Meghalaya and Cherrapunji and all, is also different. So the production of the different types of goods is also different over there, and we cannot equalize all these by any of the ingenuity of the humans. Last but not least is the fifth characteristics of land, and that is the remuneration, that is the return of land as a factor of production is called rent, which we have already discussed in starting of this lecture. So whatever we are getting in return of a land, whether it is let out or by any of the lease or agreement, it is called rent. So with this particular topic, let us conclude our session over here. Today in this particular lecture we discussed about the factor of production, in which initially we discussed the meaning of a production and the example of a production of converting natural resource into a usable form. Then the factors of production and their meaning, and after that all the things or detailed explanation regarding the land is there. From next lecture onwards, we are going to discuss about the labor and other factors of production. Till that, you have to write these particular topics which we covered today in today's lecture in your concepts book and not in your fair book, because the fair book is separate, in which we are going to write the worksheets. Thank you very much, class.